Ho, 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 ho. What's up, everybody? It's Friday night. Or, no, Saturday night. Whatever night it is. It used to be Friday. It's always Friday night on the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow. What is up, everybody? It's Colin. It's Boggs. It's Soul. It's John. How's it going, everybody? Welcome in. We got 3 great matches to talk about today. 2 fantastic guests to get into it with us. It's going to be great. Of course, can't do it without my 3 favorite people on the internet. And I'll throw it over to just the sweetest of all boys. It's John Barr. How's he doing over there?
Aw, I'm doing great. I've had to quit out of the StreamYard and then join back twice already. So very excited to see at what point my audio and my video just go like that. But for the moment, I'm doing great and very happy to be here with you all and also the guests that we have coming up soon.
Well, it's the cutest you've looked in all of the iterations I've seen so far. How is the illustrious Soul doing down in South Beach?
I'm doing great. I'm not in South Beach, but I am in Miami.
Well, okay.
But I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Scandal.
In America, you might as well just be in South Beach.
Might as well, right?
Everywhere's basically South Beach.
And Boggs is
pretty
basically in South Beach. I can only imagine the weather in Nottingham is just as great as it is over in, Miami. But it's great.
It literally never is. Like our summer is colder than your guys' winter, I believe. So it's never really that good. But no, all good, man. Like I just think I keep seeing the the Daniel Craig kind of meme of guys, the weekend, or wherever it's ladies and gentlemen, the weekend. I just think every time I see it,
the weekend.
Every time I see it, I think, again, and then you play it, and then it's actually quite funny. So yeah, that's my image of the weekend. So I do appreciate it.
Well, you'll see Daniel Craig making millions on Netflix for years to come, celebrating the weekend on the Knives Out movies. But right here, we want you here today as we got 3 fantastic matches. Like I said, 2 great guests. And as always, we have illustrious comments that Soul has the pleasure of just parsing through, bringing us the best ones from the video last week. So, Soul, if you would, please tell us what the comments were from the Outlaw Nation.
Will do. So last week we had Chris Taylor saying the interview with Video Drew was the panel's best, and the interview with Paul Preston was our funniest. So thank you there, Chris. We're glad that you enjoyed both of those.
I guess we peaked, huh?
Crazy.
Yeah, we peaked, guys.
Time to pack it in. All right.
And then we have from Drunken Prayer going, I remembered to comment. Thank you, Drunken Prayer, for commenting. Because great show, folks. All the guests were amazing. Hope Video Drew comes back one day. But glad that I wasn't there when she was there because I would have fanboyed like heck. Because it's okay, Drunken Prayer. You can fanboy. You can fanboy to us. Come on. And then we have
can confirm the weather report as well.
Accurate,
right. And then we have Ambling Soul saying 5 matches is a lot to cover every week, but you all do a great job. Thank you, Ambling Soul. And then we have Sean Buckley saying, great guest. Ever been the only person in a movie theater? I have. Teen Wolf 2. Can't blame Bateman for missing that movie.
Well, I think Jason Bateman even forgets that movie from time to time. I think if you brought it up to him right now, he would tell you that Michael J. Fox was the star of Teen Wolf 2. But folks, the first of our illustrious guests is here to break down his match. It is my favorite of the Harris triplets. It is Lon, the Professor Delinquent Harris. Come on down. You're the first contestant on the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow. Welcome.
What an honor. Best of the Harrises. We're going to really lord that over them at the next reunion.
Listen, this kid on a Zoom call once told me that I was the best. And Mom, I don't care if you say Don's the best. This kid's opinion matters.
It was one of the top 12 Schmoedown after shows. Easily.
In consideration to be considered for an award.
I don't have a strength that high, so that's lovely.
Yeah, easily.
Well, Lon, it's been great to see you back in the league this year. You've just been one of the consistent faces over the last few years. I don't mean face in terms of wrestling and all that. I just mean like you've just been here and consistent, and we love having you here. And
I
it's
refuse
great.
to go away.
How's it been this season compared to, you know, like last year getting your feet wet in the digital sphere? Now this year it's like, hey, we're back, and you kind of feel comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of part of where everybody's head is at in terms of the pandemic right now, where it's like we could see it feels like mentally it's almost over, but it's felt like that for a while already. Like I'm tired of it being almost over. It's like put me back into the thick of it where I had no idea when it was going to end, or just let me go back to movie theaters. I'm getting my first dose of the vaccine. I made my appointment in like a week and a half. So
congrats.
Thank you. There is light at the end of the tunnel, but and so, you know, we're doing all these digital matches with the idea that like, okay, but like late summer, early fall, we'll be back out there, you know, and it's just like, I wish we were there already. I'm tired of doing it this way.
And hopefully one of those matches is going to be a big teams match live. I mean, that's one of the things that, you know, most of us really miss is the live atmosphere. And it's going to be great to see which teams out of this teams tournament that we have coming up. I mean, it's absolutely stacked. Sorry, folks. We've been putting this off for the last couple of weeks. We know that there's news out there, but when you got 10 matches, well, actually, when you got 13 matches in 20 days to break down, you got a lot to do. So now let's take a look at the teams tournament coming up. We got the newly minted Rushmore coming up, the press room, lighting time. I mean, these are great. I mean, these are
you say lighting time?
Lightning?
Lighting. That's film school in me. I was like, lighting time. That sounds great. That sounds like
the stage crew versus.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of grips all hanging out on the side.
I would not want to fuck with a group of grips.
You do not. They are the toughest, yokest dudes on set. Going up against the outsiders. Great matchup. Going then onto the other side of the bracket. Danger Zone versus the midterms. Not quite a final exam. Then Deception going up against Blackjack. This is a lot of new faces in new places and new names, and this is just great. But I'm going to throw it over to Lon because not Don, your brother is absolutely
John.
in this tournament. And I wish Don was in it. I wish Don.
Yeah, John and Eric Zipper are the midterms for S.W.A.G. I mean, look, I think they're both great. I mean this about all the teams, not just the midterms. But I really think so much of teams is the chemistry between the two players, not only how well they work together just as a unit, like how well they get along, but also like the matchup of knowledge. And I think that's a lot of the time when I feel like people are evaluating, like I read the Facebook every once in a while, folks. I've seen your Reddit posts. And I think that one thing that people miss a lot is they just look at raw, like knowledge, like two smart, good people, no lot movies put together, best team. And I think that it's not, we've seen from experience that a lot of the time the best team is not necessarily the two strongest singles players. I mean, to me, I would point to the Patriots, like not to take anything away from JTE and Snyder, both individually super knowledgeable, great guys. But like, you know, I mean, this is a great example. Like JTE is with Roca in Rushmore and people are like counting them out because, you know, like as individual players, it's like, but we've seen that when you put JTE and Snyder together, they're like the ultimate unstoppable force. Like there's nothing anybody can do against the power of those two guys combined. So like, I think that's so much. And final exam, I mean, also from personal experience, it's like so much of that it was less like Oyama and I were the unstoppable juggernauts as singles players. He's very good. But it was like the combination, the overlap, like the fact that he knows a lot of like the YA stuff that I don't know, but I know a lot of 70s movies that he doesn't know. Like that's why it's a really effective team. And also that we just have gotten really good at shorthand and communication without saying a lot. And like, we work well as a unit. So I think it's hard to say other than Deception. We know those guys work together well. And I would say Lightning Time just because We know that Liz and Ethan, old friends, a lot of personal chemistry. They like each other. They're going to be used to talking about movies with each other. So I feel like those two teams maybe have a little bit of a leg up. For everybody else, we got to kind of wait and see. We don't know how well they're going to function as a unit yet.
Absolutely. And Boggs, I'll throw this over to you, man. I mean, you're looking at Rushmore. You're looking at Lightning Time. Obviously, the favorites on the left side of the bracket. Press room and the outsiders going to be very undercounted underdogs here. They're going to be the underdogs going into these matchups here. Either of these two, do you see as possibly having a chance to, take a swing at the king and not miss?
From them two, I'd say the outsiders have more of a chance just purely because of the more experience that they've got. Both of them, obviously, that being Ben Goddard and Paul Preston, they're both obviously playing in teams and in singles and in IG. So they, I'd say, would have a better chance. I mean, over Perry, and is it Josh Horowitz? Is that right? Yeah. So, over him, as obviously a rookie, never played before, against, arguably the two best teams players of all time. So, like Lon is saying, in terms of their chemistry and stuff, obviously Lon, as a former professor, will identify the chemistry a bit quicker, more familiar than other people. So yes, definitely I agree there 100%. But yeah, to be honest, the most I'm looking forward to is probably Danger Zone against midterms, because obviously the SWAG guys are experienced, but obviously everyone wants to see what Bateman and Morrow have got together, what their chemistry is like, because they would have had chemistry last season, in obviously the Finstock Exchange. So, yes, they're a bit of a obviously intimidating team to go up against. So, Lon, how's your brother's kind of prep been going? Is he looking forward to this, or is it a bit? Are you a bit nervous is he a bit nervous going into this match, or what's the kind of overall thoughts on how's his prep going?
Yeah, I mean, I think that honestly, to my mind, to look at a matchup like this, it's in a way, it's sort of win-win for the midterms as long as they do well. I mean, they're kind of not up against, like, they're not in a situation where they have to win, because nobody's expecting them to win. Danger Zone is in a situation where they have to win. Imagine the hype behind Merle Bateman teaming up, and then they lose their first match against a team that's never played before, against a guy who's been in maybe 2-3 matches in his entire career. So I think that if you're looking at it in terms of the pressure going in, it's all on Danger Zone. And all the midterms really have to do is show up. Like, if they take them to the 5-point question, the story of the match isn't going to be Danger Zone blew everybody away. It's like, can you believe that the midterms took Danger Zone to the very last question? It wasn't a KO. It wasn't a TKO. And speaking for me personally, I really hate going into matches like that as a heavy favorite. I mean, you have to do basically perfect in order to make a splat, in order to exceed expectations and do well. The match of me against Cody Hall, no one remembers that I won that match. It's often listed as one of the best matches ever, but the only thing people remember is that first round, because he went perfect and I didn't, and it was like David beating Goliath. That's epic. I'm not saying like I'm hurt about that. Like, I totally get it, because that's the story. It's like, here's this guy who's, supposedly knows everything, and he's coming in and he's winning right away, and his whole character is being this egomaniac. And here's this kid everybody thinks is like just the guy who runs the board and doesn't know anything. Like, that's a great story. And so I think that, obviously I have no idea who's going to win. I think any matchup in the Schmoedown is basically like, it's kind of anyone's ball, and like
any given
the questions. Yeah, if the questions in the wheel goes their way, who knows what can happen. But I also think that, yeah, I mean, midterms has to do like pretty well to make the story. Midterms did great, whereas Danger Zone has to like call their shot grand slam home run in order for the story to be Danger Zone exceeds expectations.
Yeah, and to speak onto like the tournament talk, obviously we're live right now on Saturday night. We got the Final Four going on right now, so what better time to talk about brackets? Sol, I'll throw it over to you. We got the right side of the bracket. We're looking at Danger Zone, Deception, obviously a team. But we got the midterms and Blackjack, some new teams out there. I mean, either of those two teams, I mean, I'm looking for a splash here. I want somebody to give me some things I haven't heard. Like, who do I need to know if I'm trying to pick an upset here?
See, you know me, and I am swag, drip, drip, till the death of me. And so I'm going with the midterms. It's going to be upset city again. People didn't believe in Ace last year. I did. People don't believe in SWAG this year. They're saying SWAG's not doing so hot. I think they're going to upset. They're going to the end. Midterms, upset City.
Wow.
That's what I like to hear. I love it. See, so you know exactly what I need. John, this is just a plethora of talent. We got champions across the board, multiple former champions here. Which former champion needs to perform the best to kind of, in your mind, that's kind of hasn't been on their game so far, that you kind of need to see something from to kind of give you a little bit of faith in them?
Gotcha. I mean, I think probably thinking about that, the former champion that arguably has the most to prove would probably be Ben Bateman. Obviously, he just had a successful match against Mark Riley. But I think if you kind of look at, especially the work that Dan Merle and John Roca did last year as the team of the Founding Fathers, seeing them continuously be pretty like strong teams competitors, I think a lot of people are kind of like assuming they're going to be more in their comfort zone. Whereas, Ben Bateman, obviously, both in his singles career and with Who's the Boss last year, did hit a couple of hurdles. Though, on the other hand, I don't know about Ethan. I love Ethan Irwin. I've long listed him as one of my favorite competitors. But he's also kind of struggled a little bit with teams, like he and Janine, the combo of Time Machine, I thought was phenomenal. I love them, but they couldn't quite make it happen against the Looney Bin when they were in the tournament last year, or I guess 2 years ago. God, time, hate it. It's
nothing but a construct, John. Don't feel bad about it.
There you go. And then also I think they were called the Lethal Weapons, right? Ethan Irwin, Andrew Guy, they were called the Lethal Weapons. Mm-hmm. They did a lethal poo-poo in the bed is what they did. And that's good wordplay? I don't know. That's nothing. So I'm also kind of curious about Ethan just to see what he can do, because I feel like teams is not necessarily his bag. I don't know, man. There's a couple entities on this list where I'm really curious to see what winds up happening.
Yeah, I mean, we got the current singles champion. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 former singles champions in this tournament. Arguably, this is one of the most stacked tournaments we've ever seen in the Schmoedown, just in terms of overall talent. So, I mean, I cannot wait to see this. But we don't have just one, folks. We got 2 tournaments. So let's move on over to the Star Wars tournament that got announced. And if anything from last year is gonna, give you a sense of hope, for lack of a better word, when speaking of this franchise, this is gonna be good. One, because the man who won it last year and went on one of the greatest Cinderella runs is back. Andres Cabrera is back with a first-round matchup against Sean Sullivan. And then, one of the most hyped rookies ever in the Schmoedown, partially because of me. I take credit for this. I take full credit for this. I've blown so much smoke up Thomas Harper's butt. Like, this dude scares the living daylights out of me going up against Eric Whiteley. Not anyone to sleep on. Over to the left side, we got Marie Wilson. And what a debut, going up against someone else you can't sleep on. It's Gold Leader. A fantastic first-round matchup. And then Zach Burkett going up against Adam Witt of the Dungeon. This is gonna, everyone's represented. It's kind of cool. It was kind of like the commissioner called everybody and Grace said, hey, throw in your best Star Wars fighter and let's see what's up. So I throw it over to my Star Wars Co-Patriot box, and I look over at this, and Ace is a given, and Soul, you can't answer Ace either, all right? Ace is a given. We've talked about Ace enough on this show for the last year. I need somebody else box. Who else in here scares you, it scares the blue milk out of you?
Oh.
I mean, they all do, really. It seems like if you miss a question in a match, you're out, basically. That's the level that they're at, so which is quite scary, really.
We'll make you feel like you lost if you did. Don't worry.
Exactly. So, well, I mean, overall, you got a back Ace after last year, current kind of tournament winner. But other than that, you know what? I'm going to go Adam Witt because I love a good underdog, as you know, John. I love a good underdog. So, yeah. And, people are writing him off. And how many upsets did we see last year? With Ace with Chance in that tournament, with Perry, and Final Exam got an upset in that tournament final as well. I'm going to go Adam Witt for upsetting a rookie who's never played before under the lights. On the day, you just don't know. So you can forget a name, things like that. Although obviously the DragonCon players are trivia wise are elite, knowledge wise and stuff, but they ain't played the Schmoedown. So I'm going to go Adam Witt there with the upset. But I want to ask Lon as well. So thoughts on Ace's chance of retaining the Star Wars tournament, I guess, if you will. And is there anyone else who you've got your eyes on?
I will be honest. I don't ever know any of these questions. I'm like everybody else watching the Schmoedown in every other division. That's what I'm like in this division, where it is like I will get 2 points around. So right. Or a game. So I don't know. To me, all of this is like Greek, and all of these people have elite levels of knowledge. I can't approach it. I'm not in a position to be able to judge who knows better, because I'm like, well, I don't think they I'm just answering Cy Snoodles for everything, and one right. time that'll be the right answer. So don't listen to me is what I'm saying. But having said that, I have seen I knew Ace for the Schmoedown. We've been on podcasts, work together and stuff. The guy doesn't like to lose. The guy's very committed. He's really set his mind on this. He's not happy about the way things played out before. He's got something to prove, and so I think maybe more than anyone else I see on this board, I feel like he's the guy who's motivated. He's the guy who's got a story to tell. He's coming in here with purpose. It's not just wow, the Schmoedown, awesome, I hope I do well. It's all right, it's a different level of intensity altogether. Right. So I think that gives him a leg up. I will also say, as others have said, not knowing a ton about the DragonCon players, they're pretty untested commodities to me, and I don't know what we're talking about anyway. I'm just it's Scarif, right? I never know the answers. So, but having said that, all that, Adam Witt is a guy with vast stores of knowledge, and I think that in the past it's been knowledge of the game, or maybe being distracted because he's doing a bit or being funny. I don't think we've ever seen uncut, pure, raw Adam Witt knowledge in the Schmoedown, and I think that if Kaiser or working with the dungeon, other guys on the dungeon, however, if anybody could figure out a way to tap that and get the wit that I have seen talking, where it's just rattling off an incredible amount of behind the scenes, just information about movies. If he could bring that to the Star Wars tournament, I think he's unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great call. He's definitely not someone to count out, and especially with experience in the tournament and the game. John, quick thoughts. Is there anyone in this that you are excited to see?
I mean, I guess the two people that come to mind are just the two people that I haven't seen at this point, Zach Burkett and Eric Whiteley, because at this point, at least with everyone else, we have some sort of base knowledge as far as what they can do, and we already know they're all scary. But in that regard, it kind of makes the other two that we haven't seen even more scary, because it's there's truly just no game tape on them. It's kind of like what we were talking about when Lacey went up against Gold Leader, where it was kind of she got opponents, or Gold Leader spun opponent's choice. She got the opportunity to give him whatever, and it's well, I don't know what the heck to give him, because I don't know what he's good at yet. So I think it's that kind of a card where it's just the fact that there's truly just so much kind of more enigma wrapped around him makes it a lot more difficult to really try and call those matches, especially considering Zach is going up against the most seasoned player, I think, at this point in the Schmoedown, Adam Witt, and then Eric is going up against one of the most touted newbies, Thomas Harper. It's gonna be spicy, Colin.
Yeah, well, then I'll throw that over to Soul. Would you rather be Zach Burkett or Eric Whiteley?
Great question.
I honestly think that I agree with Lon that I think Adam Witt is going to surprise some people in this tournament. But I also think, kind of just changing up your question here, I think Marie Wilson as well, she got the W and she wasn't happy with her performance completely. So I think she's going to come with even more fire. We know Ace already is bringing the fuego. And I think it's going to be Adam Witt and Thomas Harper. So I think I would say neither for Zach and Eric, because
Oh, I thought you were saying that's going to be the two of them in the finals.
No. I think Adam
that's
Witt. I think Adam
shot.
Witt. No, I think Adam Witt is beating Zach, and I think Thomas Harper is beating Eric. So I would say I would want to beat neither because I don't like losing.
Fair enough. And with that, we'll end our discussion on the Star Wars tournament, the teams tournament. We're going to get into our picks over the next couple of weeks. I'm also going to throw out a challenge to anybody out there. We're going to make like a template bracket for this kind of stuff. We're going to throw it out there, and we're going to see who's got the best bracket. A little bracketology. Who's going to get all the picks right? I think somebody out there can get them all right. And let's get into the big match of the week. That's right, folks. We are usually the kings of burying the lead, but now we are running with it, and it is the teams match that debuted yesterday between Shazam and One Final Exam, and I will throw it over to my favorite librarian on the entire planet, Soul, to break it all down.
First, we have to talk about that scene between Roka and Dan at the very beginning of the match. We see Roka and Dan going at it. There's no love in that relationship anymore. So I want to throw to Boggs. What are your thoughts on that scene, and how do you think this is going to play out?
Yeah, well, we've got another case of Dan and Roka trying to steal the show here, but no, it was interesting. So obviously Roka's just telling him, "Hey, what are you doing? You know, stop these little guys." I just imagine Gucci ringing him, "Hey, John, Dan's trying to bully me. You know, Dan's picking on me." So, and he's obviously called his kind of big brother for his backup. Yeah, it was just interesting telling him to, hey, you know, fix up, you know, focus on winning belts, winning matches, and you know, we'll have our rematch. So yeah, nice to see kind of Roka putting it back on him, because obviously they got Gucci there, didn't they? So it was nice to put him in his place. So yeah, it was a good way to start the match.
And I'm sure that all of us would love to prank call Gucci, but Roka did stop that in the moment. But let's go straight into this match. So round one, I have to say it, Lon, I love you as a competitor, but that was a rough round one for you.
Yeah, no, and look, it was, you know, a lot. Obviously, it's tempting to sort of do the storytelling version of you miss one, you get a little thrown off. It's hard to sort of like find your place. And that has actually happened to me, I think, in the Schmoedown before, but honestly, not this time. It really was just like a bunch of questions in a row that I just like, I don't know, for whatever reason.
It was a hard round one, to be honest.
Like I do think it was a little harder than a lot of other round ones I've seen or I've been in. You know, I don't like, listen, the question writers do great. I don't like to second guess. Like, these were legit fair questions that I just like happened to not know. You know, so I'm not trying to say it was the question's fault. Like I missed it, but I do feel like, yeah, some of them were just questions that kind of threw me. There's that one kind of question construction that has thrown me before, which is where they give you name an actor and then they give you 3 movies. And in this one, it was Mars Attacks and The Natural and one other I'm blanking on in the moment right here. And the answer was Glenn Close. And for whatever reason, I'm just bad at that. Yeah, right. I'm just bad at that formulation of a question. I missed one of these two in a free-for-all once that was what Ridley Scott movie features Julianne Moore and Ray Liotta, and I couldn't get to Hannibal in time, and they left out Anthony Hopkins for the question. Obviously, Gary Oldman. So I don't know, for whatever reason, I just like, it takes me too long. Like, I'm starting at the top of everybody's filmography, and Mars Attacks has so many people in it that I was just like endlessly going down blind alleys of like, well, what about Sarah Jessica Parker? She's in Mars Attacks, but she would be too young for The Natural. Okay, not that one. Well, what about Annette Bening? And like, you can, I feel like, see me doing that in the match, and I would have gotten there eventually. I just not in the time allotted, so I had to guess. But I think it was mostly situations like that where it was just legitimately like, you know, I mixed up No Strings Attached and
the most toss-up question in the history of movie trivia. It is the movie trivia toss-up question.
And I've been in, you know, I've said it before. I don't feel like this is giving too much away. Like, rom-coms, not a particular strength of mine. Like, I've seen a lot of them, but it's not. It's a tough thing in terms of it's just not my favorite genre, and a lot of them feel kind of interchangeable to me. So I've seen, you know, Ghosts of Girlfriends Past. Like, I've watched it. But if you ask me about that movie versus a movie that, maybe I've seen once or twice, but I was more my wheelhouse or whatever, I'd remember more details. Whereas Ghost of Grover's Past, I'm like, Matthew McConaughey's in it, right? I'm pretty sure, like I just don't retain as much. So yeah, I think it was just a bad run of luck. It was a couple questions in a row that I just didn't have. And what I was most proud about in this match, not my round one performance, was that I came back. I didn't let not doing well in round one keep me from doing, I think, pretty well in rounds 2 and 3. It was just we were at too much of a deficit and we didn't make it up. And you can't really go to a deficit when you're up against Shazam because they don't really miss a lot of questions.
I will say, if I'm thinking of the right movie, Friends with Benefits is the one that prominently features a flash mob. So don't feel bad about not having to think about that movie. That is much more a blessing than a curse.
I'm on the level with you guys. A lot of my success at the Schmoedown, especially when it comes to films that were released in the aughts, is that I was working at a video store for a bunch of the aughts. And so I can picture the boxes, and a lot of the time that's as far as you need to go. If you could pull the box. So as soon as they asked the question, I pictured the box. It turns out I was picturing the No Strings Attached box, which has Natalie Portman in it, instead of the Friends with Benefits box, which has Mila Kunis.
And I believe it was released in the same year too, so that's even even more of a toss-up.
It's like a It's like, I feel, it's a sucky question to miss because it's like a famous thing to screw up. Those two movies are similar, and one has Mila Kunis and one has Ashton Kutcher, who are now a couple. It's designed to throw you.
Exactly, and but. The other half of Final Exam, Paul gets a perfect round. He does miss the bonus, and you guys were a little.
I knew, frustratingly.
Yeah,
enough,
which you knew.
It sucks when that happens. I would have gotten that one.
And what gave you guys a little bit of saving grace in that moment is that you had Shazam. They missed their last question. You had so he didn't get that perfect round. So I was just like, okay, it's only 3 points there. So Colin, what's your thoughts on round one? Because 3 points, we've seen bigger upsets than that.
Right. 3 points, and especially in a normal match, if it was against most teams and we were down 3 points, I'd be like, all right, we'll do well on round 2. We'll get these back. Against Shazam, you're always well, they don't really miss, so any deficit is very bad. I mean, even before the match, I think I would have probably said if you miss a question or two against Shazam, it just means you have to hit your 5. They're not going to leave you a choice at that. It's always nice to get to round 3 and maybe you don't have to hit your 5. When you get there and you have to hit it, it just adds a little bit of extra pressure. So I knew basically by the end of round 1, okay, we're going to have to hit our 5. But between me and Paul, we often hit that 5. So there's always a chance it's going to be a trial and error question, and I'm going to know it before the question is done being asked. And so I definitely didn't feel like this is insurmountable. But you know that now the pressure's on, that you're not going to skate through it.
Round 2 just kind of felt like it was something that needed to just sort itself out. Unfortunately, they land on horror, and there's nothing you can quite do with.
No, I mean we were talking in the other room about how long do you think it's going to take them. We were just quizzing how long do you think it's going to take them to get all of their horror questions. We knew
a good over under. That's a nice way to make that fun.
Well, you can see too when we come back and they're like, oh, no steal opportunities. We're like, of course, let's just keep going, and we didn't assume that there would be. I always figure at these high level teams matches, the way it seems to be working out is probably not going to be a ton of steals. Everybody's going to spin until they get something they're relatively comfy with. Especially if it's between, Shazam, they don't have a lot of weaknesses. So it's they're not going to land on something they just clearly don't know, like me getting scores and soundtracks or whatever. I don't think they have a scores and soundtracks. So
this just definitely felt like a match that you two, it's not like there were things that came out of nowhere. You guys knew exactly what happened. You knew what the mistakes were right afterwards. There wasn't much of over analyzing what happened. It was, here's the things we need to correct. That's it, and that's what happened. And when those matches happen, honestly, that's those losses don't feel good. But later, after you look at it, they're the best ones because you know why it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a handful of teams that are playing at a really elite level now, and you just have to accept that, like, you're going to win some, lose some when it's at that level, where it's just like it comes down to a question or two every time. And, like I'm not the kind of person that's going to beat myself up if I can't perform like basically perfectly every time. Like I can't feel bad about losing to guys like, Bibbs and Brendan Meyer. They're extremely knowledgeable. They're super good at the game.
Former champs.
Yeah, but former champion. It's just like, look, they're going to be one of the toughest teams to beat, and I do think that one day we will be able to beat them. This is our second time losing to Shazam. I think maybe third will be the charm, and I don't think it would have been impossible for us to win. I think there's a scenario where it goes the other way. Brendan or Bibbs misses one or two in round one. We're able to maintain in round two, and then we hit our round threes and we win. Like I don't think that this was a like, well, we've learned, we have this huge weakness. I think it was like the questions didn't roll our way this time,
But speaking of your round two, you guys actually did pretty well in round two, even though you did have one stolen there. But you were taking the kind of the lead there, Lon, in round two. You quickly were like, oh, I know it's this answer. I know it's this answer. And then even in like the missed one, you answered that pretty quickly. And Paul was like, yeah, I'm just going to go with Lon, whatever he's saying here is what it looked like. And you think if you took a little bit more time on that Carl Urban question that you would have gotten to Carl Urban, or was that kind of just you were thinking Dwayne Johnson the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, look, on that Doom question, it's frustrating because it really does come down to like, do you know the names of the characters? And like, I knew that Carl Urban and The Rock were both in that movie, so it was kind of a toss up. But I think 99% of the time I'm gonna go Dwayne Johnson on that. Like, I was not seriously considering. I knew Carl Urban was the other guy in that. So if the question had been The Rock plays blank, who plays the other guy, I would have been like, Carl immediately. It really was just like, do you remember the name of The Rock versus Carl Urban's character in Doom? And I didn't. So, I mean, I don't know if this is a case where multiple would have helped, because I'm presuming that both The Rock and Carl Urban would have been multiple choice options, which would have made that not particularly helpful. So it's one of those things. I don't think there was anything else we could have done other than what we did. Like, I'm aware we got it wrong, and I wish we had said Carl Urban, but I mean, maybe Paul, if he had taken a beat to really think about it, I was pretty sure I was right, just because I thought, well, it's a round two question, so it's not a 5-pointer, and it's asking me for who was in the movie Doom, and I know that The Rock played like a military guy in Doom, so like that sounds right to me. Just in general, in terms of the category, I knew as soon as we spun video game movies that I was probably going to take the lead, just because that's a Screen Junkies thing. Like, working at fandom, those are the kinds of movies I have to write about all the time. We did an honest trailer not that long ago for Street Fighter. I've been prepping for the new Mortal Kombat so I can talk in funny ways about the old Mortal Kombat. So like, those are just movies that, like, the Tomb Raider movies we've covered. So like, that's stuff that's in the air for me. So like, it's not like I'm a great lover of that as a genre, but it's like I have an everyday familiarity. Like, I had to see Assassin's Creed. I didn't have a choice. So as long as I had to do it, I might as well use that knowledge for good.
Yeah.
And before we get into round three, we got a stream lab from our boy Drunken Prayer. Says, no question, really. Just want to keep the lights on here. And Lon, always love seeing your banter in the YouTube chats during the matches. It's hard to be funnier than Mark Ellis, but you're getting there.
I would say Mark Ellis, a professional stand-up comedian. Lon Harris, a guy who writes jokes about movies in his bedroom. So let's, if I'm keeping up, I'm doing great. I'm exceeding expectations.
There you go.
But throwing to you, John, there, it kind of makes that steal a little easier, because Dwayne Johnson, they say, oh, they answered Dwayne Johnson. Obviously, you're going to go, oh, Carl Urban. So I don't think that Shazam are video game movie lovers either. That just made the question easier. What is your thoughts on round two?
I will interrupt to say, William Bibbiani is actually a considerable fan of this genre. He has spun this in round two before and done very well. So yeah, I figured if we were going to drop a video game question, they were probably going to pick it up, especially that one, because as I said, it was a kind of toss-up question anyway. So
especially when Christian says, and they answered Dwayne Johnson. You're like,
right.
Oh, well, who else was in that?
Who's the not Dwayne Johnson guy in Doom?
But John, your thoughts on round 2?
I mean, I don't really have any other thoughts on round 2. I think, we kind of talked about it. Final Exam had a solid round 2, like definitely nothing to like hang your head about. Again, we've talked about that Doom steal. It's just one of those things where it's like when you're coming out of round 1 with a 3-point deficit, and then Shazam spins one of their greatest strengths, it just, it puts you in that kind of position we were talking about earlier, where it's like in that round 3, it's just like you can't afford to miss a question. And Paul Oyama, he got one of those like almost like grading kind of 3-pointers where it's like it's just recent enough. It featured like a long list of like known actors where it's like, how do I not know this? And the answer was, of course, Run All Night. I had no idea. Like, I know I never would have pulled that movie if I was in that situation. I think it's one of those things where it's like, it's definitely not a performance to feel bad about. But it's like, dang, it's just one of those things where it's like after a certain point, it's just kind of like, ah, shoot. All right. When does this happen? When does this kind of set in?
And yeah, going into round 3, you guys are down by 8. It hasn't happened before, but anything is possible. We've seen people come back from 7 before, so it could have happened. But so that's like going into your round 3. You answered the 2-pointer, Paul missing that 3-pointer of the Run All Night, and kind of just like, did you know the answer to that one, and just like your thought process of round 3?
I was going through all of the Neeson films of that era in my head, and I remembered there was a film called Run All Night. So I was like, but I was not like, but that's definitely the answer. I was still doing the thing that I described before, where I was like, okay, no, what about the passenger? Who's in that one? Or the commuter? I guess that one is. Like, what about nobody? Or like
who's in Taken 3? I don't know.
Right. He's in a few films from that era that it sort of could have been, and so Run All Night was one of those titles that I remembered from the library. But I don't even think, honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even think I've seen that movie. So would I have been able to pull that Joel Kinnaman is also in it? No. Like I would have taken a guess. Maybe it would have been the right guess from that era. I don't know. It was definitely it's not a top of mind kind of movie. It's just not.
So Shazam does win by TKO. Going into your guys' post-match interview, I love the fact that you're like, the answer is Mulan. Like that joke. I love the fact that you're bringing it up. Yeah, it's a good bit. And
it's the kind of thing where you gotta time it. If I did it too often, it's not funny. You gotta wait until you're like the moment, and then you strike.
But you also see Paul just beating himself up over that 3, which it was a hard 3. And first, I want to say, is Paul doing good now? Like, has he stopped beating himself up? Or...
yeah, Paul's great. Paul's doing well. Paul is one of those guys where it stings for a day or two, and then it's just fuel for a lot like what I was saying about Ace, where there are like I can't emotionally handle taking this too seriously. It would make me a neurotic mess. So I have to kind of compartmentalize and be like, it doesn't matter. But there are those guys that do take it really seriously. But it's not like this is going to send him in a depressive spiral. It's like a day or two, you're sort of licking your wounds. It's not great. And then, it's motivating. It's okay. Well, now I've got to come out and, especially if you're Paul, we'll take a little break from teams for a while this tournament plays out, and we'll see, what the landscape looks like after that. But, Paul's got singles matches. He's, the free for all is coming up. So, I mean, he's very much like eye on the prize. As soon as one match is over, you're prepping for the next one.
Right. And Boggs, I want to throw to you final thoughts on this match. And
yeah, you absolutely killed him in JTE, so I think you're all right there. But except for that, no, it's just a bit sad, really. But because as you said, Shazam are that good. I think they're 10-2 now. So as you said, if you are missing a couple of questions in the first round, you're probably going to lose. I mean, that is just the truth of the matter. But obviously, you know that now moving forward. So, just overall, you guys are obviously, don't forget, you guys are a really good team. Now, outside of probably the champs and Shazam, you guys are probably the next best team, and probably Corruption as well. So, obviously, we're unlucky in this match against these guys, but they are one of the great teams, I'd say. So, everyone else, though, you guys are kind of up there. So, don't be too hard on yourself now.
Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I'm never that hard on myself because it's like, you can't. I can't know everything. Like there are those guys where they want to know every fact, and it's like, look, I'm trying. I'll do a little prep here or there. I'll try to get better at areas I know I don't know that well. But look, I'm mostly relying on just being a big fan and watching a lot of movies, and I know what I know, and there's some stuff I just don't know. Like, what are you gonna do? More effectively cheat. That's what you got.
Right.
Figure out if I could one-hand IMDb like under here. Folks, I would never. I'm just kidding. I would never.
Just put it on the inside of your beanie, so it's just I'm having such a hard time.
Good idea. I like that one. Yeah.
What's gonna happen is Taco's gonna bring you the answers. Like he's gonna run around. He's gonna hand you the answers
under the table.
Look at that deviant face. Look at scheming right there.
Well, the folks that have been scheming all week to get in here and ask you some questions, they've been anxious in John Roca's Discord. We got some great questions that Soul has lined up. So, Soul, if you would do the honors.
All right. So first we have from Jeremy Miller, and he's asking, do you enjoy playing as the delinquent or the professor more?
Oh, delinquent, 100,000%. I had honestly the whole character change happened because I was really sick of the professor. It's just like it's a hard bit to keep fresh. It would be like there's a reason that they don't put the Night on the Roxbury guys on SNL every week. Like you gotta space it out, just like I was saying. And I was just like I was literally running out of like famous European filmmakers to reference. Like once I've hit like Maya Deren and Jan Svankmajer, I'm like scraping the bottom of my esoteric barrel. So yeah, I kind of had to get out of the professor. One thing I also didn't realize is that when you're a character like the delinquent, you're kind of shit talking proof. Like no matter how aggressive anybody comes at me, it's like you're like a wall. It's like, man, who cares? I mean, the effort is dumb. And so it's actually great. It's like it adds a level to the scenes, I think, in that like none of these aggressive heel kind of characters can ever get to the delinquent because he doesn't care. He's immune.
I will say when your brother was like, "Oh, a group of professors in this group called S.W.A.G," and I was just like, one of us. I was like, "That is hilarious."
I have also noticed. This season, Mark Ellis is doing my jeté. I was the one who started calling my partner jeté, and now he's using his jeté rules. So I will expect a royalty check. That's all I'm saying.
And then we have from Chris Taylor here goes, if you were to describe the movie Trivia Schmoedown in 3 words, what 3 words would you use?
Oh, wow. Lots of effort.
That is true.
It is really more all the time. It's fun.
What's great is that it is, I think, even a 3-word title: Movie Trivia Schmoedown. There you go.
It is. There's 3 words. Yeah.
We got
delinquent. Close.
Yeah. And then we have from Drunken Prayer going, what would be the professor's favorite movie and what would be the delinquent's favorite movie? Because obviously 2 different people right there.
I think, well, let's see. I mean, the professor's favorite movie, it's going to be something, I'm tempted to say something really long, like Tarkovsky's Stalker or something, like something that's tough. Come and see that like Russian, or I guess maybe it's Czech war film, like something 3 hours and ponderous. There's a movie called Hard to Be a God. Have you guys ever heard of that? It is it's from 2013. I'm looking it up. Yeah, it's a Russian movie, and it's about alien scientists, and they go, or no, excuse me, I'm wrong. It's about Earth scientists, and they travel to a planet that is like in an earlier stage of its history. So it's only medieval times for these people. And they're there to study them, but they eventually just get like super bored and depressed of being in this like ugly, filthy medieval world and just spiral downwards. And it's like 3 hours long and extremely ponderous and weird and esoteric. And that's probably the professor's favorite movie.
It was made for $7 million.
It's
treat.
It's really interesting, but I mean, very difficult. It's not like a let's throw on a movie kind of movie. It's like a project that you have to commit.
Yeah.
So there is a book for you. There is a book.
Oh,
So
there you go.
read the book. There is a book.
Oh yeah, it is based on a book that I think the book is like plot driven. The movie was just like, what if the setup, but then nothing happens and it's just everybody's covered in mud the whole time, and it's like an hour before you even figure out they're not from this planet because they're just walking around and being sad and getting drunk, and it's a trip. Yeah. And for Delinquent, I'm just going to go ahead and say I believe it is Tango and Cash.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I just figured both of them shared the same favorite movie of Sex Drive, starring Clark Duke. That's got a little something for everybody.
Who doesn't love Sex Drive starring Clark?
That's right. It's got Seth Green playing an Amish man and a very offensive donut costume. Fun for the whole family.
That would have been a good tagline for that. A real movie.
That's right.
A movie people were paid to be in for your enjoyment.
We swear. I'll leave you with a similar funny story. I used to work at a video store, as I mentioned, and Jonah Hill used to shop at this video store long before, not famous, just a guy named Jonah who used to come into the video store sometimes with his mom. And after a while, he was coming in and he was like, hey, you know, I act, I go to auditions. I'm in this movie. I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's the worst piece of shit ever. It's going to be the worst movie. Like, I'm excited for it to come out so I can show it to all my friends and how terrible it is. And when it's available to rent, you guys got to put it on and we'll put it on live. The film was Grandma's Boy, and it made him an overnight star. It like launched his career.
Wow.
He thought no one was going to like it, like Clark Duke's Sex Drive, but it was a big
Well, what are you going to do? But, folks, we got 3 questions coming in from live Outlaw Nation patrons. First up, we have someone who I think is just absolutely fantastic. You know her as Ambly Soul. I know her as Cheryl. Bring her on the screen. What is up? How are you doing?
Swag Squad drip drip. Let's do a takeover, Soul. Woohoo!
What is your question for the delinquent professor?
So this is a very important question to myself and to many, many other people in our Patreon and all over the Schmoedown. How many promos is Taco going to make an appearance in?
I mean, Taco, he gets appears in just about all of my promos because, as you can see, this is his spot right here. He's literally just staring at the wall right now. This is a good portion of Taco's day. I don't know what's going on over there. It's so fascinating for him. But yeah, it's hard to get him out of this sort of zone of my apartment. So yeah, if filming has got to happen and this is the camera I use, then Taco's going to be in the background somewhere doing something, probably stretching out.
Well, I am looking forward to it because Taco is one of the best dogs along with Molly from the Schmoedown, and we want him on camera as often as we can get him.
Hopefully we can
Look at that face. Look at that face.
He's on the favorite.
Look at that face.
He's like, hey, I heard my name was in your mouth, so I turned my head.
Yeah, he knows. He can tell. He's like, what? Oh, I was very busy staring at this wall.
Thanks.
You never know what's going to happen with this wall.
Right. The wall could disappear. You never know.
Never know.
But thank you, Cheryl.
Thanks, Cheryl. We'll talk to you later. Next on up is Canada Rocks. Ryko, what is up, sir? What is your question for the delinquent?
I think you're on mute, sir. I believe.
Yeah.
Cannot hear you, Saya. 3. Okay,
you're gonna leave and come
we'll
back.
come back to you. We'll swap out Ryko and we will bring
No, just play.
in Drunken Prayer. How's the weather over there?
Good question. I'll let you know the second I open my blinds for the first time today.
It's raining on me.
Probably raining. Not going to be check.
Where are you, Drunken Press? Scotland?
Yeah, Scotland.
Yeah. See? Just based on all I have to do is hear a person talk in their extremely distinctive accent for several minutes in a row, and I'm like, I can tell where they're from. It's a magic trick.
Lon Harris, boy detective.
Yeah, it's like,
don't encourage me to talk for several minutes. Cheryl will get angry at me.
So what's your question?
So, already asked, what's the Delinquent's favorite movie and what's the Professor's? But personally, what's your favorite movie or favorite genre?
Wow, it's really hard. It's hard to pick. It's hard to pick a favorite movie. I mean, there's so many. It sort of changes and shifts over time a lot. But I do love like 70s crime movies. Like I love crime movies. I mean, that's probably my favorite genre. Like noir, gangster, detective, like all of those kinds of genres. That's a lot of my favorite stuff, and a lot of the movies that I go back to. And when I was first trying to write movies, that was what I would always try to write, was like funny, wisecracking, criminal kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure, my high school days, Guy Ritchie, Quentin Tarantino, Robert Rodriguez, like the Soderbergh, like these were the movies everybody was watching, the Coen brothers, like that was the stuff I was really obsessing about. And it was all kind of in that tough guy, shoot 'em up, crime, kidnapping gone awry sort of genre. So like that's always where I've kind of been most comfortable.
So can you do like a good noir voiceover then, like the met a dame in a bar, knew she was bad news type of thing?
You mean like noir? Like you mean like that? Nah, like that one? Like nah, see, yeah, get out of here, take it on the arches, you baloney. Like that one? Yeah. Is this the end of Rico? Like that stuff. Yeah.
The detective was a Pikachu. God. See, he had lightning coming out of his butt.
Yeah, mid-Atlantic. That's what we call it, the mid-Atlantic.
Yes.
Well, Drunken, thanks, bud. We appreciate you really. I love your questions every week. There's really something to look forward to. We'll see you later, man. Appreciate
Thanks for the stream lab as well.
Yeah,
yes, thank you, dude.
Appreciate you keeping the lights.
Thanks for Brian Brawler as well for the super chat.
Yeah, thanks, dude.
So, Lon, since the last time you were here, our guests have the ability to cut a promo to tell everyone out in the Schmoedown world why they ain't nothing to be fucking with. So, tell the folks at home, or everybody out there on their couches looking into their cameras trying to tell everybody that they know more about movie trivia than you. Tell them why they don't, sir.
Listen. There's two things that add up to being the delinquent. It's not just knowing a lot about movies. It's also not caring if people know that you know a lot about movies. I see a lot of these other Schmoedown guys. They're like, hey, I'm knowledgeable and I'm going to yell at the camera. Like, I'm going to get in your face. Like, I'm the best. And it's like, look, man, like, if you think, whatever, glasses guy, briefcase Joe is better. If you think, the plaid guy with the hats, if you think that guy's better, if you think it's like, the guy who's always looking at his watch in Hawaii is better, like that's fine. That's cool. All right, I'm done. That's it.
Well, by the sounds of that, the Schmoedown, much like everything else in life, is subjective in the take of Lon Harris. So with that, folks, we leave you with Lon Harris, and thank you so much for hanging out, sir. Of course, you are always welcome here. We appreciate your presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, dude.
Thank you, Lon.
Great to see you.
Later, bud.
Likewise, man. Aw,
man, Lon is just so great. Just one of those just happy, positive presences that you just want to have. But folks, we're not stopping here. You would think, hey, that'd be a good show. 57 minutes. Wow, that'd be a good time. No, we got more for you. So coming up next, we started with the last match of the week. Coming up next, we got the first match of the week. All right? These ladies ain't nothing to be playing with. The match we're talking about. Got Paige and Peggy. Some trouble. But of course, Peggy's been a guest on the show. But we would like to welcome Paige Frabetti to the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow. Come on down, girl. Except you're up there. compared to everybody else from Boston. What's up, girl? How's it going?
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm excited to be
great.
here.
It was just
I put
fantastic
on my
seeing all these
fancy.
rookies.
I know, right? I had to put on my fancy jacket just for you guys.
Ooh, there you go.
Thank you.
Hold up, it's like 1991 up in here. Oh,
oh yeah, you know.
If you move it, does it
It's
make
also my
noise?
go-to. Oh, it does. I got the swish. Can you hear it? I'll do
Little
the
wind
running
breaker.
man for you real quick.
Well, of course, folks, you can always make sure if you want to get a part of this conversation, you want to ask Paige a question, get them into that Streamlabs, get them in them super chats. We love that. But I am going to throw this over to my boy John Barr. Break this match.
Oh, it's me. All righty.
Look, man, I'm reading the notes.
Fair enough. I don't read anything.
Well, then Boggs wants to break it down. Boggs.
So good.
I got it. No, I got it. Because I can't read, but I do write. And
I'll just tell you guys, I should have won. We'll just bring it like that.
Cool.
There you go.
Well, there you go.
That's how it should have went down.
No.
You're in
This was
charge.
a phenomenal match. I will say this right off the bat. I went 0 for 3 in my picks this week. I'll just go ahead and fess up to that right now. But I'll say part of the reason why I went 0 3 this week was because, Paige, I was the only one that had your back in this match.
Thank you, man.
And I will say, of course. And I will say as well, like you were saying, you should have won this match. Certainly, I don't want to take away anything from Peggy, but like part of the reason why this match was so good is because you also really killed this match. Like, were you like feeling any nerves coming into this as your Schmoedown debut, or were you really just coming in like, yeah, I own this, I've got this, let's go?
I mean, you always got those like pre-game like jitters and stuff. But once they said action, we're ready to go. I was feeling it. I was in the motion.
There you go. Hell yeah. One of the things that also really set the scene for this match was some really powerful promo stuff up top as well. Not just the fact that you and Peggy got your chances to talk some smack, but we also got a rare insight into the auditions of Peggy specifically. And that was heavy. That was a really interesting way to kind of like start off the match. It was really, it was kind of a lot to take in at first. Boggs, what were your thoughts on just kind of like having that set the tone for this match?
Yeah, we have spoke to Peggy about it again. She, speaking of the devil, she appears. I think she's just in the chat now. But yeah, no, just about. Yeah, we have spoke to her about it before. She's told us a story and stuff, so it wasn't actually new to us. But yeah, it touches kind of the heartstrings and all that. So, when we did speak about it with her, she didn't want to go into it too much. So I won't do that. I'll respect that. But yeah, it was obviously a great promo. Of course, it's hard not to get invested in that. It makes you more invested in her, makes you want to cheer her on. But obviously, Paige, it's our first time meeting you, so I want to know your feelings about the kind of before the match started. Was you kind of were you nervous? Were you confident? Because obviously you must have been studying. But great promo, by the way. You're crushing it with this energy, this whole, because obviously I'm from the UK, so I don't often see all this Boston badass thing. For me, it's just like, because a lot of the ladies that come in, they don't come with that kind of confidence and smack talk and vibe. Yeah, so I loved it.
I've been saying it for a while now. Who runs the world? Girls, and that's what we're doing this season. We're trying to take down these boys. So, you have all the feels going into your first match. I feel like you're nervous, you're excited, you're just like, I just don't want to mess up. And then when they say your name, when they said my name, when they said Boston Badass, I was just like, oh gosh, I just forgot my own name real quick. But this is real now. But no, it was just like such an exciting feeling, and it was just, this has been a dream come true for me. So I'm just enjoying every second of it, and I just can't wait to get my first W in my next match, so y'all better watch out.
There you go. Also, I don't know if anyone's asked you this yet, Paige, but I was looking at like the thumbnail for the video. It seems like, are you a vampire? I'm just gonna come out. I don't know if it's inappropriate to just ask that outright, but like I feel like we gotta kind of address it moving forward. Obviously, in a digital space, it's fine, but like if you are in fact going to be doing in-person matches, do they all have to be at night? Do people have to have like garlic powder on hand? Is that too much even? Like, the people got to know.
I know. With unfortunately, I'm not, but I do love Edward Cullen from Twilight, I must say. But no, hopefully I can get a nice tan soon because the sun's coming out in Boston, so I won't be looking too pasty white for y'all. So this vampire will be gleaming in the sun with a nice tan. So
there you go, right alongside Edward Cullen, the original Batman, and that's true now. So there you go. And round one, let me just say, absolutely killing it like a vampire. You were coming out of round one 6-4, only missing the Snoop Dogg Soul Plane question, and then both you and Peggy missed the Benicio del Toro question. Coming out of that round one, only having those two misses, did that kind of help you feel like you were again kind of on that train, just like killing it? Is that something that did shake you up a little bit, or were you again just like totally in the zone, focused on just your gameplay?
Well, I'll do a little vampire reference. I was coming for blood that whole game, no matter what. Honestly, I mean, yeah. I'm definitely getting a lot of crap for that usual suspect question. I did know it. It just, when you're in the zone, sometimes you just get a little brain fart, and that's what happened with me. So I was just like, I'm just gonna put the main guy in it real quick, because God, you just never know if you'll get it right or not. But I did know it was Benicio del Toro. But I was honestly, I was hoping I would have done better. I was hoping to get a perfect round, but hey, I think I did pretty well for my first round. So I was feeling good going into that second round. That's why I was like, I will go first in this wheel round. So see what I will get, because I wanted to keep that ball moving. So
damn right. I just want to confirm. Obviously, like Roka's saying in the chat, she, meaning of course you, Paige, that she will learn from the mistakes and be even more ready to play her next opponent, because you did fantastic first round. Like, I think you did so well. You shook Peggy a little bit, because you were so kind of further in front. Peggy was obviously, she needed that team talk at the end of the round from Kate. I think she helped her out there. But like, I think the whole community was impressed about how well you done, talking smack. Super confident, loads of energy. It was like, whoa, it's legit. Like, got like almost edge of the seat, like the way you're playing in the first round. It's so super impressive. So you played awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I feel like you got to be confident. If you're nervous, if you let your nerves take over, that's when you're going to make mistakes. You just take it question by question and just keep the confidence rolling. That's how you just got to play it. Can't get yourself down at all.
No, not at all. And I think that's an interesting thing to kind of transition into talking about the manager talks that we got to see with both you and Sam. And then as Boggs was talking about with Kate and Peggy, obviously Kate did kind of like pull a very motivational speech to try and kind of help Peggy kind of get out from under that kind of weight of being behind in the first round. And then, since I guess our boss John Roca is in the chat, I think I'm contractually obligated to call Sam Levine a stinky poo-poo loser. I'm sorry, Paige. I know he's your manager. I may or may not mean it. I'll figure out it.
Nonsense.
Gotta pay the bills, Paige. Gotta pay the bills.
Exactly. So I kind of want to talk to you again, kind of seeing these rookies have on both of their ends a solid first round, and then kind of seeing them interact with their managers. Were you feeling like this was kind of open and shut for Paige? Were you feeling like Peggy was primed and ready for that comeback? What did you just think of these new dynamics, let's say?
Well, obviously Paige was coming out with the lead, and I just love when we have more females like Paige in the Schmoedown. We have people like Janine, people like Stacey Howard that comes in with that attitude, that comes in with that fire, that's like, no nonsense, I'm going to get stuff done. And so I'm just glad that you're in the league. So I just want to say thank you for being in the league on that part. But and for Peggy as well. But
I am 100% that I'll say witch. I'll be nice today.
There you go.
But we've seen this before. We've seen people who were down 7 and end up winning at the end. So there's 2 points is nothing in this game. So it was very much you got to stay in the game. And Sam was telling her that too. You're up ahead, but stay in the game. And we're seeing, sorry, Roka there, but we're seeing Sam and we're seeing Kate both be phenomenal managers this year. And that's why they're up higher in the leads of the leaderboard, because they're both being phenomenal managers this year. So it was one of those, just like, you just got to keep trucking, got to keep playing this game.
There you go. That's very true. And oh my gosh, look at this round too. Paige, you absolutely killed it again with this mystery films category. 7 out of a possible 8 points. Not a single question dropped, only going to multiple choice at one time. Obviously, I don't want to get too in-depth as to like your general thoughts on Westerns and mystery films, because I don't want to, peel back the curtain too far as your process, but were you kind of feeling validated in that choice to spin away? Was this a category where you were like feeling like you were going to be able to do that well, or was this a little bit more of a toss-up?
Yeah, no, definitely going into round 2. Like going into round 2, you just when you get a chance to look at that wheel, you obviously only have like 30 seconds to look at it before that wheel takes its spin. So, I mean, I was feeling comfortable with honestly with anything I got, but when I saw Western, I was like, you know what, I can definitely do better. I feel like in another category. So I just didn't want to. My thing was I just didn't want to take any chances of dropping to multiple choice too many times. So I just wanted to spin again just to play on the safe side, and it worked in my favor. Let's say that.
Absolutely. I mean, you had a killer second round, and if you're Peggy, you know, you're kind of looking at being 2 points behind already. Your opponent getting 7 out of a possible 8 points. You kind of need to go perfect in round 2. And then what does Peggy do? She 100% goes perfect, full 8 out of 8 points. I mean, Colin, what were your thoughts again? Like, these were 2 rookies, people that we hadn't heard of really before. Peggy, I guess, being one of the kind of like fan league 4. But whew, like even just like 2 rounds in, this is already one of, I would argue, the better matches we've had this season so far.
Yeah, because it definitely didn't give you the sense that anyone was overwhelmingly comfortable with their situation. Like round 2 kind of felt like, okay, like Paige, you got mystery. You're like, cool, I'm gonna deal with mystery. I'm gonna deal with the animal in front of me. I'm gonna tackle it. And then Peggy kind of felt the same way about Oprah. She was like, cool, it's Oprah. I think I can handle it. Let's do it. And that's kind of what you want to see from 2 competitors in a match like this that are both on equal footing coming into the league. 2 players that don't, 0-0 coming into this match. And I kind of don't like it when a player lands on spinner's choice, somebody lands on opponent's choice, especially in a match where it's their first outings. It's great to see both of them run through round 2 and tackle it like they've been here before. Just both of them did. Like checking down to multiple choice. Paige, you do it just like when you need to do. Peggy second guessing herself a couple of times, coming through with the right answer, and it was just a great round 2. And it kind of made for everyone. It just felt even the whole time. Even though Paige, you had the lead coming out of round 1, there was never a sense of like, oh, this is out of reach. And those are the matches where I'm kind of like, that's kind of a disappointment. And both of you came back in round 2 and were like, no, this is why I'm here. This is why we belong. Both of you showed a capital W-E, why we belong in this league. And that's what I was looking for. That, like, if you're, you can't take these rookies and put them in the same kind of microscope as I do the last match we talked about with 4 guys that have been in championship matches. It's a totally different microscope. You take it this, and you're looking at like, what are you giving me your first round out? And this was everything you hoped for and more. Like somebody said in the chat, let's get these ladies on a team together. That would scare the hell out of the league. That's what I want to see. Like this is the kind of the confidence from both of you. I think Christian might have set the world record for saying moxie in a single YouTube video. But yeah, like it's that kind of thing where you don't know what else to say, but yeah, it's like this energy that we need. And that's kind of was me coming around to like, y'all belong here, and that's all you want to see.
Thank you. I mean, that's the thing. When you're a rookie, you got to prove yourself. And I'm here to show you don't need to be in those fan leagues to know your trivia and stuff. I didn't come from no fan league. I run my own movie blog, so I know my stuff. I'm just a huge movie fan, and that's where it comes. So that's where the knowledge comes, just watching those movies and knowing your stuff. So
there you go.
Colin, our fan league match is canceled. So then looking at round 3, you're in kind of this tough, unique position that some players get put in where it's only a 1-point lead going into round 3, where it truly means it's like that fully back and forth situation where it's like the second one of you gets a question right, it immediately bounces back to the other competitor. How did that kind of compound just as far as trying to keep the gameplay in mind, trying to make sure that like, I mean, at a certain point, it's kind of like out of your control in that regard, I guess, because you don't know really the category. It's higher value points where it's like, it's nerve-wracking in its own way, but I feel like I've been asking you a bunch of just like, oh, were you nervous for this round? Were you nervous for this round? So I think more so my question is just, are there any questions that you kind of look back on in this round, particularly obviously with your 3 and your 5, where you look back and you're like, oh man, I should have gotten that, or like maybe I wish I'd had like another JTE, or are you just like, no, those were just the questions in my blind spot?
Honestly, I mean, I'm surprised no one has said this yet. I'm sorry, Australia is not a war movie. There is one bombing scene in that movie. It's the backdrop. If you look at the IMDb, it does not say it's a war movie. If you look it up online, it does not say war movie, and it literally says in the description of it, like takes place before World War II. So therefore, it is not a war movie. So I'm just gonna say that. I mean, if I challenged it, I don't think I would have possibly gotten away with it. But I mean, because there technically is a bombing scene in it, but I don't consider it a war movie. So, but at the end of the day, also, I was too much in my own head because I didn't want to waste my JT, and I can't remember if I used it on that or not. But I couldn't remember if they said Hugh Grant or Hugh Jackman, so I was just like, wait a second, this is threw me through a loop right now because I was just like, can't remember what he said exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, though, like at the end of the day, sometimes if you haven't seen the movie, there's nothing you can really do. Like, and unfortunately, and that's why I'll keep saying it, Peggy got lucky because if I got my 2 answers right, I would have won the match. Some people are just like, oh, she's a better player, that's why she won. If I got those right, therefore, blatantly, I would have won. So I'm just going to keep saying Australia is not a war movie, but some may agree, some may disagree, but look it up on IMDb. It is
All
not
I
a
hear is
war.
rematch. Rematch.
All I'm saying is by the end of this season or next season, I would like a live rematch as an undercard because I want to show hundreds of people live who the real badasses in this league, which is me. So,
there you
guys are
go.
ready for that one.
And we've seen precedent before. Video Drew did a challenge saying that's not a horror movie in one of her matches, and she won that challenge. So, like, there is precedent in the movie trivia showdown for saying this is not the right category.
Yeah, you know, sometimes like
bring it badass. Let's go.
It will happen. Don't worry. I will see you again, Peggy. Don't you worry. But no, it might have been a
Who's
rookie
ever
movie.
doing the singles tournament bracket? If this isn't like a round 2 possibility, you're not doing your job right. Like, come on, let's set these ladies up, put them up for a round 2, maybe a final 4 matchup. It would shut the town down. Oh, it'd be so good.
But yeah, maybe it could have. I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of do think I was like, was it a rookie mistake that I did not challenge it? But you know what? Sometimes the cards just don't fall your way. But I'm coming back for vengeance in my next match. So
absolutely,
and if W whoever I face. So
if there's any time to make a rookie mistake, it's in your literal first match. Like, I definitely don't think you have anything to hang your head about as far as worrying about the challenge, because we have seen it be one of those things where it's like, yeah, sometimes it's your Demolata belt-winning challenge, and then sometimes it's your Sam Levine in Molly Damon versus Adam Witt, where it doesn't necessarily, or I guess it was also Kaiser? I don't remember that match well enough. What I will say is that, oh my gosh, Boggs, from Paige and Peggy having absolute dynamite debuts, from Kate and Sam just kind of further cementing how dangerous they are in this season in particular. This is kind of like a showcase of like the best that the Schmoedown has to offer. What were your kind of thoughts on overall this match and how it kind of ranks up as far as what we've been able to see so far?
Yeah, it's one of the better matches I've seen full stop since the season starts. So yeah, I did love kind of Sam's reaction to you just in between every round. He's like, yo, I'm so impressed. Like, I'm very happy with how you're playing. I love how he goes, if you know, because obviously he's famed for his challenges and stuff. He said, I'm with you if you want to challenge anything. So I just love the subtlety of like, yeah, if you want to jump on anything, I'm here with you. I can do it for you. I can pick apart the question, because you can kind of get in your opponent's head as well, thinking, oh, you know, Sam's got our back. If he wants to challenge anything, he can make me question my answer and stuff. So, but I gotta give a shout out to Kate as well. Like, you know, the way that she kind of shook her to kind of get her head back in the game. And I got to give a shout out to Peggy for going perfect in Oprah Winfrey. Obviously, you know, a minority. We see all the time people missing, you know, black cinema questions and things like that. So she's gone perfect in that. I'm pretty sure she put it on the wheel.
I got to say though, sorry to cut you off, man.
Yeah, go ahead.
Those Oprah questions, come on, they were so surface level. Like, if you don't know film and you don't know those answers, then there's something seriously wrong with you. Just saying. I was hoping she would just get one wrong, so I could at least get couple
Okay.
steals from her because, come on. I mean, I'm hoping all of you guys do those answers too. Like,
I want to double check them actually because I knew.
Bugs has literal receipts right now. He's like,
yeah, she got Color Purple. She got Selma. She got Nature Sun, was it? That's the one.
Yeah, Native Son.
Yeah, Native Son.
1986,
That's the
man.
one I
I'll
didn't
tell
know.
you what year it's from too, man. Like, I know all this nonsense. Like,
You're invited to the cookout for getting
But that's the thing, like putting someone on who isn't, who's not had a slice before, you're gonna get them surface ones, especially like the first time they get picked.
Exactly,
so it was a smart choice, really. So yeah, she done well, and obviously she kept her head in it. Obviously going into the third, then yeah, she done well, obviously, and but yeah, just overall great match. That's what you're here for, right? To give us the entertainment, and you guys did great. So next, I want to know, Paige, going into your next match, so there's kind of three ways where I think. Excluding the like the rematch, of course, like three ways where I think it could go. So, do you want another rookie or another newer player? Or are you looking for someone who's had a few matches, maybe someone potentially with a losing record, or someone like let's say if you go into a tournament, you go in the first round, you might, obviously because seeding happens, right? So you might play against a top 10 player. Which kind of way do you want to go in your second match? Obviously, naturally, you'd like to win, of course, but what is your kind of, if you could have your choice, what would it be out of the kind of three options?
honestly, I'm not scared of anyone in the showdown. So whoever they want to give me, I will take with open arms. So whoever they want to give me, I'm not afraid of anyone. So whoever they want to give me, let's go for it.
I love this attitude.
They
I love
will just
it
walk
so
away
much.
with a loss, though. But thank you.
Paige and Stacy team up when? That's all I'm gonna say.
So you got some Patreon
boys.
questions for Paige?
We do, but I do want to say I loved your attitude at the end. Like a lot of times, I think Jen said it too, that you see people lose in their first match and they're kind of just down and like, oh, I don't know about it. And you're like, no, I'm ready to play again. I'm ready to go against whoever's in the Schmoedown. And I just love that attitude. So I'm here. You definitely made me a Paige fan. As someone who didn't know who you were going in, you made me a Paige fan. And so we have some patron questions for you here. So starting with Chris Taylor, goes, what's it like to have Sam as a manager?
Oh, man. He's the best. Like, I literally tell people, I'm like, I have this man's phone number. Like, what? Like, I mean, it's just awesome, too, because, like, the Suspects are the only team in the league that have like someone that used to be a champion. And we also have his better half, who's one of my favorite players of all time, which is Rachel Cushing. So, like, to have them behind your back, it's just, like, the most amazing feeling ever because they've played the game. They know how it works. And they know what to expect from everything, in a sense. So, it's just honestly an honor to be on his team. And everyone's just so great. So, it's so nice.
Yeah, I would imagine, like, telling someone, I get to hang out with Sam Levine and Rachel Cushing.
Exactly.
That's something that I like to brag about.
Oh, I do. Don't you worry.
Perfect. And then we have from Jeremy Miller going, I know you want the rematch with Peggy, and you've kind of answered this already. So, like, who do you want to take on next? You're going to take on anyone.
Whoever they'll give me. Whoever.
And then we have from Drunken Prayer here goes, can't remember if you've said it on a show, but how did you find out about the Schmoedown, and how did you end up wanting to compete?
So I've actually been watching like since the early days, like 2014, 2015.
Let's go.
I've always just been a huge fan of like trivia. Like I've always been a huge fan of film. Like that's like my big thing. And like people say all the time, I'm the worst person to watch movies with because I'm always asking 21 questions. So like when I'm bored, I would just go on YouTube and like look up movie trivia just like to play along with, like if I was bored. And that's how I came across the Schmoedown. And then when Christian said like open auditions, like send your tapes, and I was like, let's just do this for like shits and giggles. I was like, I doubt I'll get picked up, but I was like, this would be like an amazing opportunity if I did. And look where I am now. Like I'm still on cloud 9 from this whole thing. It's just crazy. I never thought this would happen, and the fact that it has. That's the one thing I will say, that this pandemic has been a blessing in disguise, because I would never gotten this opportunity if it wasn't for that stuff.
Hey, you got to shoot your shot, man.
Exactly. And I did, and it worked. So.
All right, Colin, I think we have some patrons that want to come in and ask her some questions.
Boom. First one. Let's see if that mic is working. Ryko, come on down.
Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Too loud. You're too loud.
Too loud. All right. I'll calm down. How's this? Is that better? First of all, hey, Paige, I became an instant fan. This has been my favorite rookie match so far, like rookie on rookie match this year. Can't wait for you next. And one of the things I'm most impressed with a lot of the rookies this year is that they come prepared. Like, you came in not just knowing the game, but also knowing like the entertainment aspect of the game. So I'm just wondering, when you came in, like, did you know what you wanted to do in mind with your character? Is that something you played with once, once you got in, or is it just, no, this is who I'm going to be, this is how I'm going to do it?
Honest, this is how I'm going to do it. Like, I want to show us that these women are fierce this season, and we're coming in hot. And when I was given the name Boston Badass, I had to rep Boston and use those suspects. So I'm trying to do it with pride, and I'm just showing that feistiness. I mean, I grew up playing hockey my whole life, so that's definitely where the vibe comes from of being like feisty. I'm small but feisty, so.
Oh my God,
hockey! Let it be
known.
known.
Oh my God, if I didn't love you enough already, Canada loves you now.
Oh my God.
And the other thing, is, before I go, I think one of the perfect matches for you against someone who hasn't have a winning record, but that would be Whitney. You against Whitney would be a fantastic match. So I don't know. Whitney Seibold, yeah. Because he's unfortunately he's got a losing, but that I would pay money to see that match. But anyway, so
we'll have to see that.
Welcome to the league, and I'm looking forward to your next match. And I'm sorry, as a Toronto fan, I do have to say Boston does suck. So
wow. Oh my gosh!
Hey!
Ruin a perfectly good appearance.
I have to. It's the law. It's
Get him out of
here. He said something bad about Boston, so Sean's gonna keep him here longer than he should.
I meant the Bruins, not the town. I meant the Bruins.
Paige, go Sox, go Red Sox, man. We won our first game, opening day. Go Sox.
Yeah, you lost today.
Exactly.
You lost to the Orioles. Feel good about that, guys. All right, Ryko, we'll talk.
How are the Braves doing?
We'll see you in the Outlaw Nation Discord, which everybody can be a part of if they go to that link over above John's head. www.patreon.com/John Rogue. You can be a part of the conversation where folks like Ryko, folks like Soul, me, everyone in there are having a good old conversation. Soul, this has just been too much fun. And Paige, you are just a firecracker. There ain't no other words. You're like a firecracker that's always lit, but I don't exactly know how long the fuse is. And with that being said, we're gonna give you the chance. Cut a promo. The floor is yours. Let the Schmoedown world know.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. So we still got some patrons to come in. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I'll cut for you after. Don't worry, Colin. I got you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Fine. Then just bring on the next patron.
Time out.
Just bring on the next patron. It's fine.
Yay! Got a lot of nerve paying money to come onto this show and support us and interrupt such a beautiful speech by Colin.
How dare I be like this?
How dare you support us monetarily, you beautiful son of a bastard?
Yeah, thanks. I don't know sports. I have nothing to contribute to that conversation you had back there. But first of all, just wanted to say, great debut, Paige. Thank you for the wonderful debut. I almost thought you were going to win there for a second there. But to be quite honest, I was kind of rooting for Peggy because I once upon a time did a show with her, me and Saul. We did a show together once. I don't think she even remembers my name or my face, but we did. So that happened. But yeah, great match. You did wonderful. And like a lot of other people said, you did play better than her. She just got a category that she was a little bit more confident in. And she didn't check the multiple choice as a result of that. And you did. But the main question that I wanted to ask here is, I mean, sad to say, but the Schmoedown, even in recent history, has this little
thing about not being kind to female competitors that come into the league. I mean, we saw it even as recently as last season with Sabrina. So I just wanted to ask you, because I don't do social media stuff. I don't really care about Twitters and stuff. So how has the reception been for you? Were the people nice enough or kind enough for you after your match?
Honestly, though, I will say, like, I've had like great feedback. Thus far. I mean, some people will talk their smack, and you know what? Let them. You know why? Because my name's still in their mouth, and they're talking about me, so they know who I am. So, yeah. But you know, at the end of the day, it's overall it's been pretty positive, which is nice.
That's great
boys
to hear.
Will
That's
be
great.
boys. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's fair. Haters gonna hate.
Exactly. Perfect way to put it right there. I like it.
Yeah, and I myself am also coming off of a loss as of a few hours ago. I am the first person to ever lose the movie trivia stereo.
Hey, that's something you can still put in a bio, dude. That's still a Twitter bio.
Exactly.
Like, that's an accomplishment.
That's like an NFT. You could get an NFT of that.
Well, let's not do that.
The first person to do this, and you can
please don't spend millions of dollars and ruin the environment to put that on a digital fucking Twitter or whatever.
What?
NFT. We could get into NFTs later, but yes, thank you, 50, so much for your question.
It was an honor to meet you, the Boston dollar. So yeah, thank you.
There you go.
It's like my favorite artist, Key Money Ha, also known as Kesha to people around the world.
There you go. Speaking of people around the world, apparently we have a mystery guest of some sort. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is a fellow competitor in the movie Trivia Schmoedown, but our producer legitimately refuses to give us any more information than that. So I'm very curious to see, Sean, who the heck you got for us in that backstage, huh? Who you got for us?
Oh, damn.
I just figured since everyone was asking Paige a question, I would jump in and ask Paige a question. Now, here's what I was wondering during the match. How much did it hurt Sam Levine's heart that you missed a question for which is the namesake of your faction?
Talking smack already. Back at it.
I'm just curious because, what? I mean...
No. Honestly...
Not even no hello, no nothing. Just, straight
sometimes you just have a brain fart when you're under that line.
Oh, I understand that completely. I'm just curious how much crap you got from the faction when you returned.
Surprisingly, none. But they could have been... They've all been very supportive, which is nice. We got a nice team.
That's good.
We got a nice
That's
team.
good.
We got a nice
That's
team.
good.
So all but love.
In all honesty, my big regret during the final interview, and I was just overcome with emotion as I did not get a chance to say how well Paige played. She had me shook round one. Thank God for Kate to snap me out of it. But hats off to you. I hope we get to play again where the pressure is going to be off me and we can really play.
Exactly. We'll get back at it. We'll see each other again. Don't worry.
I hope so. I hope so. Don't want to completely intrude, so I'll get out of here. But
but we will also say as well, congratulations on your win.
Congrats.
That was incredible. Likewise, when Paige came in, I'll also again say I went 0-3 in my picks this round because I did pick Paige over you. And so, I will call that a whoopsies, but also both of you are great. So technically we're all winners, even though I am the definitive loser. So
I mean, let's just do a rematch. So you got some questions. Let's just go.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm not trying to step out of time here.
Just playing.
No, it was nice seeing you though, Peggy.
No,
we'll be back at it again. Don't you worry.
I'm sure we'll see each other again soon.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy, I can't
Bye,
wait.
Peggy, I picked you for what it's worth.
All right, Colin. Paige.
Crazy Colin.
Paige liked me for a second until that. So.
I, as the one person who supports you, I want to just say thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a delight. We are all so glad that you are in this dang league, shaking it up, putting people in their place, and I'm so excited to see who you're going to put in their place next, and that's going to lead us right back into what Colin tried to tee up for. That those words. You have any words for anybody in this Ding Dong League?
You know what? There's been many champions. We got, even though I called him out, Ben Bateman lost his first match. I'm pretty sure Roka did. the kid Brendan Meyer lost the first match, and guess what? They all became champions. So this chick right here, this is not the last you guys will see me. The Boston Badass is coming in hot, and I'm coming for vengeance in my next match, man. So whoever I'm facing, you guys better be scared and get ready because I'm taking that W.
Hell yes, Paige. We're so excited to see you go for that W next match. Thank you so much for being on the show, and we will see you as soon as humanly friggin' possible next time you're in that ring.
Yes. No, thank you guys so much for having me on, and hopefully you guys, the next time you'll see me, I'll be rocking a nice W. So that looks like not right. There we go. Nice W. So.
Anything you want to plug or anything before you go?
Yeah, you guys can check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Page News 9. I also run my own movie blog on Instagram titled Feature Flicks. There we post movie news, reviews, all that fun jazz. And yeah, I think right after this, I might have to go watch Godzilla vs. Kong so I can get my review posted. I know I'm hearing great things. I don't know if any of you guys have seen it yet. So
I'm also watching it tonight. How about that?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Maybe we can have a little watch along then or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, no, thanks again, guys, for having me on. I really appreciate it. And
Thank you
for all
so
the love,
much,
guys. Thanks for all the love. And next time you guys see me, I'll be rocking a nice W on the chest. So stay tuned.
And I'll leave you with Go Sox.
Thank you.
And with that, that'll be it from this edition of the Ultimate Star After Show.
I had to do it. I had to do it.
I don't understand how. I'm just lost with your baseball fandom.
I'll put us back. I'll put this train back on the tracks of non-baseball. Bugs, you were smart enough to remember. Also, ask the guests where the heck to find them, and I think that's why it's perfect to transition over to you to talk about and guide us through with your brilliance the third match of this week.
Keep going with the compliments, John. Sorry, I'll sit back.
And you look so good. And you've really shaved around your facial hair masterfully. You're really like, no, I can't have a full beard. I just can't do it. I refuse.
Stop the fight. Stop the fight. No, this match actually was the only match that I've got wrong in the last 3 weeks. Yeah, believe it or not, the last 3 years. This one was the only match. It was Damon against the Barbarian. Obviously, he was on a comeback, due to his obviously defeat, losing the Star Wars title. But yeah, we'll start with the promo, of course, as we always do. Obviously, Barbarian and Damon going at it. Kalinowski coming in and Crush just to give a bit of smack talk. Basically, obviously, he's going to play the winner, of course. So just going in, obviously. Just adds a little bit more pressure on him because obviously he's got a win against Damon as well, knocked him out as well. Of course, Barbarian, needs to obviously, his tag team partner beat him. So yeah, a bit of tension going in. But yeah, just going into the first round, pretty good for both of them. They, I believe it was, what was the score?
It was 8-8. They both only missed 2.
Yes, 8-8, correct. Just overall, pretty solid. I thought Alex needed a good start because obviously coming off the Star Wars match, coming off getting knocked out against Kalinowski, he just needed to shake off them cobwebs a little bit. And it seemed to be filmed quite recently as well. They're talking about a few recent events and movies and things like that. So I thought, okay, I think it's maybe been filmed in the last week, just on a side note. But yeah, obviously we'll go with you, John. What are your overall thoughts on the first round and the promo as well?
Yeah, I mean, the promo, obviously, it was bizarre. I'm glad, obviously, Barbarian and Alex Damon both have comfort support animals to get them through these trying times, whereas Mike just has more food. I'm glad he's staying well-fed as well.
Is it the same lollipop?
Probably, yeah. Puts it in the fridge, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I wanted to ask him, but it was the commercial of Mr. Owl. How many licks does it take to get? I need to know how many promos does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop?
It's going to be a bummer when they open up a Schmoedown museum and that used lollipop is going to have to be in there. Oh, that thing is going to get
next to the shield,
gross.
Right next to the Captain America shield.
Right next to the Captain America shield. But yeah, I mean, both competitors wound up missing 2 questions. Obviously, Barbarian taking the first loss as far as this round goes, missing both the Suicide Squad soundtrack question, which was pretty tough, and then the Jurassic Park The Lost World question, where I think he maybe just got tossed up as far as Jeff Goldblum probably said that. But then exactly, and that's what he said. Meanwhile, Alex Damon then staying ahead for the majority of round 1, but then taking those 2 losses as far as the Hobbit Bard kids' names, which is a sentence I had to write. And then also the 2 guns question as well. I mean, this is, again, we're seeing like some deep cut questions. 2 Inner Geekdom players really getting put through the ringer, which makes sense for a contender match. But I mean, 8-8, that's no score to slouch at, Boggs. Don't slouch when I say the score.
No, because this year I'm going to call it now. In this season, this current format of IG, I don't think anyone's going to have a perfect game because the variety of questions is so like 2 Guns. I had no idea was an IG movie. So like how like kind of thing. It just seems like a standard action movie. Why is it in IG? So like it's so hard to get a perfect game. Yeah, of course. Sorry. It's so hard to get a perfect game now. Maybe in a 3 match you might get maybe like 1 or 2, but a 5 round someone going perfect, no. So it's too hard now. IG is so. But yeah, going into round 2, I thought Gucci was looking fantastic with that hat and stuff. So as
would
you
believe me if I told you I own a hat that's similar?
I would if I could see it.
I would.
But, it's away days today, isn't it? So no.
Yeah, it's an away game. It's an away game for me.
Exactly. Obviously, Barbarian elected to go first for. And sticking on the now controversial slice, which is Spider-Man. So yeah, he's obviously he's gone 3. He's got 6. Obviously 5 questions. He's got 6 points, 2 steals there. So I don't know about anyone else. This match and it was John Humphrey match, of course. I don't know. Just for me, it seems like every Spider-Man question is like really deep, especially Spider-Man 2. I've noticed. Because everyone here is and everyone at home, they've watched all the Spider-Man movies, of course. He's a big cultural icon. Everyone's seen the movie so many times, but the question seems really, really hard. And so everyone's struggling at it so far anyway. But we'll go with Salt, of course. What do you think? Of course, their round 2 was it maybe he should have spun something else. So clearly he has been studying Spider-Man. Obviously, he did get a number of points there, but it seemed to be Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man 2 in particular. I think he missed the 2 questions.
If I was him, I would have spun away just from seeing that John Humphrey match, and I'm sure he would say that now in hindsight, because you can always say that. But they are really hard questions, and I think too is that because Spider-Man has been part of Marvel beforehand, that a lot of those questions have been asked already, and they're not doing repeats of last year's questions. And so because there is only a limited number of movies, you have to go deeper and deeper the farther you go into this category. So I just see this category getting harder and harder the further we go than getting easier.
I mean, there's only 6 movies, right?
Yeah.
I think,
is there 6?
I think so, right? Because there's the original trilogy. Oh, no, I'm wrong. Because there's also the Marvel movies, the Garfield movies,
Into the Spider-Verse
trilogy, and Into the Spider-Verse. So there's 8. But that's less movies than there are Star Wars. And if you watch any Star Wars match, you're going to see some pretty ding-dong
That's
deep
kind
cuts.
of the thing, though, that I think is so interesting about this category. And it's one of the ones, and not just this category, I think we can evenly talk about this category and X-Men in the same vein, and we can have the same sentiment along all of it. Yeah, you think you've known these movies before, and you guys were nailing it perfectly with round 1. You're not going to get a perfect round in round 1 anymore. I'm sorry. The curveballs are just too curvy. The world has gotten too big in Inner Geekdom. The Inner Geekdom wheel has gotten too broad for your brain to be able to narrow down into all of these different franchises that are now a part of this sphere. And Spider-Man has now taken how broad it is and now gone even narrower into the Marvel subject, which is, like you guys mentioned, the Humphreys match. We saw it in the Inner Geekdom match with Chandru, where he gets swashbucklers, and it's like the first time the category's been called, and he didn't know what's going on. It's a whole new level of deep. It's just, it's so crazy, and it like, Star Wars used to make me feel like I know nothing, and Inner Geekdom used to make me feel like I know everything. Now Inner Geekdom makes me feel like I know nothing, Boggs.
I will shout out the question writers as well really quickly, just because I feel like, especially considering what we kind of talked about in the past as far as Christian kind of chiming in on the 5-pointer, I was feeling that way kind of about some of these 2-pointers as well. Like when you hear that that Electro 2-pointer specifically, that was one where it's like, oh, even I, like, only knowing so much about Inner Geekdom, Spider-Man's my all-time favorite superhero, and I was able to intuit that one based on the like context clues of everything and getting down that 1 point. So I was just like, yeah, I mean, it does just kind of come up to that almost like not quite 50-50, but like you do just kind of have those questions where like sometimes it's just like whittling it down as far as possible.
Jeremy, and to that sentiment, you have to, if they're asking a quote, you have to recognize how bad is the dialogue in Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the first.
You have to watch that movie several times to get the Harry.
It's Amazing Spider-Man 2,
school.
then Spider-Man 3, and then Amazing Spider-Man 1, and then we can have a discussion after that about everything else.
Hey, Bugs, how about Damon?
We'll save that for another show. Yes, absolutely. Okay, yeah. So going into that round, so my thing with this round, so obviously he spent Star Wars. Okay, let's get cut to the chase, right? So before I throw it to you, Colin, as the resident Star Wars, my fellow Star Wars host on another show, and Star Wars one, not forgetting. But my issue with this is because Roxy is talking him up, he's saying he's been studying other slices, he's been he's so good now in IG. For me, I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna say, obviously he's put it on the wheel, right? For me, if you are as good as other people in IG, if you are as good as your manager's talking you up, if you are as good as you're saying you are, why don't you put something else on the wheel? Like we know you're going to go perfectly, so you're probably going to get a Star Wars question in round 1 anyway, right? There's a mixed bag on the wheel. There's in round 3 there'll be options for Star Wars questions, so you're still going to have Star Wars questions there. Like you're putting it on the wheel, it's a safe bet for you. Which I understand, tactical decision, strategic decision. Would I do the same? Probably. I probably would. So I am being a bit of a hypocrite, but I'm saying if you do want to prove that you are as good as the other people across the board, then maybe put about you're studying other slices. I'm just putting it out there. Colin, what are your thoughts on him picking Star Wars? Obviously going perfect on it. We don't need to go through the round. Just what are your overall thoughts?
Yeah, I hear your thought. It is kind of like a show me what you're working with kind of mentality. It's like if you are that badass, then show me.
Yeah, that's just me. I think I want to see that for some reason.
Totally get it. But I think Alex's last match showed him that he needs a bit of comfortability, especially in Inner Geekdom. I'm not talking Star Wars. I'm talking this last IG match. And Star Wars is there as a safety net. Now I'm looking at this wheel, and Boggs, let's have a little talk here. We got Star Wars. We got TMNT. We got Who Said It, Spider-Man, Heroes and Villains, Wizarding World, Jurassic Park, Transformers, X-Men, and Dystopian Future. I got a hard time nailing down which one of those categories each one of those dudes put on there, aside from Star Wars. So, yeah, I mean, aside from that, it's like, if he's confident in one of those other categories, that's a lot. That says a lot to me. If he put one of those other categories on the wheel, any of those other ones for Alex Damon, I feel positive. I think he just needed that sense of like, oof, worst case, I hit Spinner's Choice and I can at least go to Star Wars. So what you got?
I got a correction there too. I think they don't pick slices in IG. They only do that for singles and teams.
It might be, yeah.
And also we saw earlier, even if they do pick slices, there was a full IG match where there was not a single Star Wars question asked anymore because of all the new categories. So if I was Alex and I was going to pick a slice, of course I'd go with Star Wars. You'd be an idiot not to.
Well, call me an idiot then, because no, because they're talking it up. They're saying no, because Roxy's saying he's studying everything else. He's saying I'm spending time studying. So let's see it then. I don't know. It's just obviously it's too risky to do. I understand. No, to get you maybe
clout, or do you want to win? You want to win.
No, but it seems like you can only win if you spin Star Wars, right? Potentially, that's how it looks, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong because you can win the IG belt doing that.
He won spinning Star Trek before. He's won spinning Lord of the Rings before. He showed it before. So I just think that if you have the mentality of wanting to win, you put Star Wars.
Yeah, I don't know. To be the champ, to be the best, to be the Kalinowskis, the Chandras, the Maris, you need to show it across the board. And picking Star Wars.
I think what Boggs is saying is Boggs wants Damon to be like Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow proof.
Yeah, I'm just being
if Damon came on the show, we would say like, "Hey man, you got some Star Wars questions.
Yeah, spin something else,
Right? I hear you, man. It's totally fair. So I mean, and unfortunately, it's just not enough in round 3, right, Boggs? Like, I mean, unfortunately, you get your bread and butter, and then unfortunately, it makes it a game though. with missing that 3-pointer.
Sure.
That's
so yeah, Triple. I know. I see you want to say something, John, but just Aisha is correct there. It is Z with B-O-G-Z at the end, not S. Thank you for that, Aisha. But yeah, sorry, John. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of taking it into round 3, and again, kind of like talking about this conversation. I understand, like, you're talking about the story element, right? Like, right now, the story around Damon is that he's more than Star Wars, and that story is kind of getting hyped up now that he doesn't have that Star Wars belt no more. But I mean, if you're looking at the complete picture, like 8-8 coming out of that first round, they're both evenly matched competitors, and Barbarian has never been a like subdivision champion, so like that's showing that they're both pretty strong. Obviously, as far as any other category, we can only talk in hypotheticals. But then if you look at round 3, like Alex was put in a position because Barbarian got his 2, his 3, and his 5, which were not easy questions. Like, again, I Love the X-Men would not have gotten that Apocalypse question in any world. Like, Barbarian made him prove that he knows his inner geekdom stuff. And Damon knew his inner geekdom. And that's part of why I'm like, yeah, of course you're going to pick Star Wars. You could try and spin away from the clout. You could also wind up with a Bateman versus Guy, spin away from Spinner's Choice and get it again. So I thought that Damon, I thought that Damon did well. He pulled it out, obviously missing that 3-pointer, making it even closer. But I have no qualms with the way Alex Damon played this match. I also still don't know if it's going to be enough to beat Kalinowski again. Don't get me wrong about that front. Like, I don't know if I saw, and maybe that's more what you're talking about, considering what his next match is. But, I mean, I don't think Damon has a thing to hang his head about in either his performance generally or picking a slice that is his comfort, because who doesn't like to be comforted?
Sure, he won the match. Hit his 5-pointer. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just, for me, in my own head, I think outside the box a little bit. So I just would have, but like you said, against Kalinowski.
Get out of the box, John.
If you don't spin Star Wars, are you going to win? Like I thought I would see some. I would have liked to have seen him hit them other slices, but anyway, no worries. But yeah, that's overall good win for him. Now of course fighting. I was going to say playing against Kalinowski for a number 1 contender match for the mandatory right to play Mara. But yeah, that's it. I think we're done. Any overall thoughts about the match?
Yeah, I think the one thing that kind of threw me off at the end there was how I think Alex kind of like felt I think both the 3 and the 5 for both of them felt like they were kind of swapped. Where like the 5 for like how I think Craig definitely felt that the 5 for Spider-Man was like, wait, I know this is the Death Star, but is it the Death Star? Like, is it really the Death Star? I think.
Well, then he should have picked the numbers in the opposite order.
Right. Well, that's true too. That's true too. And then I think the same thing goes for the Jurassic Park 5 and the 3 for Alex, where he's like, what's the name of that ship? But then he's like, well, I know the name of these raptors really quickly. And it's like, what's going on here? It was such a weird ending.
You good there, John?
I'm good. Speaking of weird endings, I just hit my lamp accidentally, and I think that's probably a sign that we should talk about what's coming up next week to put a pretty little bow on this episode. Don't you agree, my dear 3 best friends in the whole world?
Sorry.
Sean, come on down.
Let's get down to the picks of the week. Soul, why don't you tell us how everybody did last week before you tell us how people are doing,
just
overall.
finding myself. Sorry.
Yeah, don't rub it in, Colin.
No, I want to fan. No, Box, you're trying to fan the wrong direction, sweetheart. The fan's over here. I got everything right there.
Well, let's see what she has to say, and then we'll see. Please go ahead, my dear.
Okay, well, let me actually pull up because this one has the incorrect standings, but Colin's in the lead and I'm losing, so that's pretty much where we're at right now.
I thought I was winning. That's why I said it. I actually don't know who's winning.
I was winning for a minute.
Yeah.
Once upon a time. Where's Sean?
I don't know.
Right here.
Sean.
Boggs is winning by 1 point. I'm 1 point behind him.
Wait. Okay. Yeah,
but
Colin
I was
is not
winning.
That is, wow, you are super loud, Sean. But anyways, Boggs is with 16 points, so he is winning. And then Sean 15, Colin 12. John 13, Colin 12, myself 11. So that is where we are right now in the current standings.
And that brings us to the next round of matches coming up. We have a full 5 Slater. God help us all. First up, we got Bradley Tingle of S.W.A.G versus Ty Lieberman. Ty Lieberman sounds like he's running for office. Is that just the Joe Lieberman in me after so many years of conditioning? Soul, I'll throw it over to you. Who you got?
S.W.A.G, of course.
Mr. Barito, how about you?
It's always rough with rookies. It's like a coin flip. So, Ty.
One, I think I got a nickel on me. Oh.
No, I'm good. I'll pick Ty. Why not?
I'll go with Ty. I'll ride Sean's coattails on this one. Boggs, how about you?
Barry, don't you not want to wear your hat? Your lucky hat?
Nah, I was 1 in 3.
Oh, what a shame!
I was 1 in 3, so we got a big shit up.
I'll go Ty. Is it Lieberman? Is that his name?
Yeah.
I trust in the dossier, so I'm going for.
John, come on, join me, John.
Honestly, I looked them both up, and Bradley Tingle had some very fun videos on his YouTube. Hello, Thomas. We'll talk about you, don't you? Oh,
we'll get to your match at some point.
We talk all about you.
Thomas Harper against no, we can't do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bradley Tingle. I like his vibe. Fuck it.
And he's got a great name.
Someone who feels it, and I hope he's playing at the same cafe. It's Mr. Mark Hoyt going up against Griffin Newman. Big week for the Exchange, Boggs. Can they go 2 for 2?
Yeah, absolutely. They're on fire, I think, and the dossier will come through. Do not doubt the Gucci, as I like to say. I've never said before.
Yeah, well,
I'm going for.
I don't like to listen. That's what I'll.
Soul, how do you feel about their chances in movie trivia?
I am gonna go with Griffin Newman as well.
Mr. Barr.
I'm going to take another big swing. I think Griffin knows a lot about movies, but I think Mark is too fired up. Look at what he did in that horror free-for-all. I'm going Mark Edward Hoyk.
I am going Hoyk as well. One of the most impressive performances I've seen in the last few years in terms of just overall presence. I love it to not have to go to the bathroom for as long as he did in a public place. I mean, God bless you, sir. That was incredible. Sean Barito, how about you?
Newman.
Nice. Next up, we got Eric Whiteley making his Schmoedown debut going up against John Hoyt. I'll throw it over to Mr. Barr. What say you?
I've seen enough hype around this gentleman to give him the benefit of the doubt. In this case, I will go with Eric Whiteley.
Whiteley is his name. Soul is Schmoedown, his game.
See, I don't know anything about either of these two, but I'm just gonna go Eric. Sure, why not? There's a bunch of Erics in the Schmoedown. Let's go with Eric.
What's one more? One more.
One more wouldn't hurt.
Sean, what do you got?
I kind of agree with Soul. I'll go with Eric. This is, again, toss-up, not sure, but Eric, why not?
I'm going to ride or die with my dungeon brethren this year, and let's give it to John Hoyt and Mr. Boggs. How about you, Mr. Boggs? That sounds really weird.
Sure. I've been called worse, but the John Hoyt, I think, because he does a podcast with Lacey, doesn't he? So, she played well. I presume they're training well, but I have to say, I am a massive fan of Eric Whiteley. I don't watch many YouTubers. I watch his. My awesome YouTube channel, Blind Wave. They masters of Star Wars. These guys are so knowledgeable. Don't know how well he's going to play the game though, but I'll go John Hoyt. Yeah, in my heart, honestly, wants Eric to win, but my head says Hoyt.
And thus brings us to what I believe is the first pay-per-view of the month.
Yeah, of the month.
Oh my goodness, folks. Holy Christmas, holy Toledo, holy Batman's Christmas stockings. This is what you pay your money for, patrons. Stacey Howard's the sassiest of all of them going up against Kevin Smith. Are you serious? Sean, who is going to win this match?
I think Vin Diesel, apparently. I think Stacey Howard is going to pull an upset. Is this an upset if she wins? I don't think so. I just think Stacey Howard has always been busting brackets her entire Schmoedown career. I think she's going to bust a lot of hearts a lot of Kevin Smith's heart. So I think Stacey Howard's going to pull this one out.
Yeah, no moment's too big for Stacey. Put me down for Stacey. I love Kevin Smith, but this is kind of the moment for Stacey to take back the time, turn back the time, and show people why she's a true veteran. Boggs, what about you?
I'm gonna go for Stacey. Yeah, so be more knowledgeable in the game and more experience. I will be shocked if Kevin Smith would beat her. To be honest, even though I do like Kevin Smith, I think he's pretty good. I don't think he's at that level in terms of where she's at. So I'll go with Stacey Howard.
And Mr. John Barr, what you got?
Yeah, Kevin Smith is all right, but he's finally going up against a competitor with some seasoning. I'm going with Stacey Howard.
Are you saying Karen does not season her potato salad? So.
Oh boy. So what you got?
Yeah, let's not do that. Colin, let's not. I also am going with Stacey Howard, and I would say, Sean, it's not an upset. I believe she's the favorite of this, and so she's gonna win, of course.
She should be the favorite.
Vegas would put her at like plus 100 or like, and it would just be and then eventually by the time the game started, it would be a pick'em and nobody would be able to make any money off of this match whatsoever. But to me, Stacey Howard is a heavy favorite in this match, given how much she's given to this league, and thus brings us to, hold up now, y'all. This is the match we've all been waiting for. This is the rematch from Spectacular. This is Adam Collins versus Dan Murrell. John Barr?
I agree, 50.
There you go, 50.
What say you?
These are my top two choices, I think, for faction war generally. Dungeon versus Corruption. And it's really going to be a toss-up, but I'm going to go with Adam Collins. I'm going to do it. I haven't seen enough weakness from the dude yet.
Well, will the Russian be cut, Boggs?
Tough. I didn't notice as well. Corruption are quite low in the standings. I think they're like second bottom.
Yeah,
obviously, a lot of their ballers ain't played yet, right? Like, Kalinowski, Chance, Marisol's only played one match, and Adam. I'll go with Murrell because I don't know. Murrell.
Yeah, man. Hey! Don't feel so bad about taking the best player to ever, sit to play the game. Man, no need to
don't forget about the GOAT law. Don't forget about the GOAT law.
True.
I didn't say that, so.
Yeah.
Are you favoring the greatest of all time or the greatest yet to be?
John?
Who did you say?
Oh, I didn't know who you said.
I didn't know.
Sean, are you?
Yeah. Okay. So I was. This is tough. I think Dan's hungry, so I gotta go with Dan to get the belt back, and then maybe we get the match we all want is him versus Roka. So for that to happen, I think Dan's got to win first. So I picked Dan.
Well, Soul, do we get a baby shark or do we get a daddy shark?
Well, I want to see Roka take the belt away from Murrell, so Murrell has to get the belt first. So I'm going Murrell.
I guess that leaves me. And it's not split, but I believe Adam Collins cannot be beat in his shed. There's just something about how safe he feels in his home field where I don't believe Dan is quite as comfortable in his home field as he is his true home field, that is the live Schmoedown atmosphere. So until we're back, I'm giving the advantage to these players who seem to just have a bit more comfortability with themselves at home. So give me Adam Collins. I cannot wait to see how this week of 5 matches round out. That will do it for this week's pick segment. I will throw it around the horn as we close out this week's episode of the Ultimate Schmoedown Aftershow. Kick it over to the sweetest of boys that I started with, Mr. John Barr.
That's right. It's me, Sweet Boy, they call me. You can find me at John Barr Tweets on Twitter and Instagram. If you go on YouTube and look up John Barr, you'll find me eventually. Also, if you go to a YouTube channel called Funhouse, they did that Star Wars flying video game. They did a playthrough of that featuring Alex Damon, and it's so very funny. So go watch that.
I believe the game is called Squadrons. Boggs.
Sure.
Played it.
I haven't actually. No, I've watched a few playthrough games, but no, I'm not really a pilot kind of gamer. So it's
more
not really
of a
my
ground
thing.
war kind of guy.
Yes, definitely, definitely like Battlefront, these kind of games, as opposed to like a pilot, flight navigator stuff. I've never been into that. But yeah, just I'd say follow Paige's stuff. You know what she was saying, that seemed pretty cool. But for us, yeah, just like, comment, subscribe. Please leave a comment after the video. Thanks to everyone for the streamlines, for the super chats. We do have our other channel as well, which is called the Pop Culture Universe. Please check that out. We do reviews, reactions, predictions. Falcon Winter Soldier episodes going to be dropping. I think Mighty Ducks episodes going to be dropping, and we have a weekly Star Wars show as well. So thanks everyone for turning up. It's been a pleasure.
And my teammate on the Don't Bothers. So,
yes.
How are you?
Doing good. You can follow me at Saul Govin, and you can follow the Media Sweaties Network YouTube channel, where John Barr, that way, is going to be the next contestant on Soul Talk.
Finally, right.
So,
right.
The last contestant was Colin. The next one is John. We haven't had box yet.
At long last!
Brian, thank you so much. Brian.
Hey,
on,
thanks, Preston.
Our sponsor.
Man, let's go, bro.
That's
Come
right.
on now.
You got to spend that stimming money somehow, right?
Hey, drop that stimmy right here, folks. You need to drop that stimmy. You better do it. www.patreon.com/JohnRoca, www.streamlabs.com/The Ultimate Show. Give us your stimmies. We want your stimmies. You can find me down below. You can read it on the screen. It's been there the whole dang time. You can find us here every Saturday breaking down that Schmoedown goodness. I
just want to apologize to the patrons for not doing trivia today. Yeah, we have to keep it 2 hours. You guys saw last week, Roka has it in for us for keeping it for 2 hours.
Look,
so we do apologize. We'll try and get it next time. There's 3 matches.
What is, it is. And when the Roka lays down the law, he keeps it.
Just know that you are all smarter than me, and you can just live in that.
Look,
that's my gift to you.
I don't even know what to do with that gift besides put it under the tree till next year and maybe re-gift it to my grandmother. I love all of you, everyone out there in the Outlaw Nation. We appreciate all of you for hanging out with us tonight. To everyone, to Lon, to Paige, everyone coming in, Peggy popping on in there for a second. We appreciate all of you so much. We will see you right back here next week, as we just discussed, breaking down 5 crazy matches in the Schmoedown. We got a pay-per-view, so 5. You know what that is. Real ones know. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
Only real ones know the number 5.
Aftershow, signing off.
Oh, I didn't have any goofs prepared for the end of the episode. Ah, shoot.